everyone. Welcome to Cultivating Conversations. I'm Tisha Newby, and today we are talking about career coaching and development. I'm excited to have our guest, Coach Sermoya, here with us. She is an experienced career coach, and she has worked with individuals in all industries to really help them level up their career and to be ready for their next opportunity. Sermoya, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into career coaching.
All right. Well, my name is Sermoya Sandyford. I am from the beautiful Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean, right? We are known as the home of Carnival, right? So it's very
Yeah.
exciting times right now. We are in that Carnival season. To begin, I started my career in HR over 8 years ago. And generally, my career started in industrial relations. That is the more
Okay.
combative aspect. And later on, I transitioned into doing more HR work. But what that experience taught me are some of the things that we should not be doing to land ourselves in court and in legal troubles, right? So I have that understanding, and my passion for career coaching came from just counseling and doing those disciplinary discussions and helping persons to find their passion again in their careers instead of just being poor employees.
Right,
So
right.
that's how this developed.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I think, in HR is wonderful because we kind of get the opportunity to learn all areas of HR and then really
Yes.
figure out, what thrives for you the most. So I love that you found that in the career coaching space.
Yeah.
What's one lesson from your own career journey that you now share with your clients?
Hmm. One important lesson I've learned is the power of an exit strategy. As a matter of fact, I started writing and doing videos and so on that subject. It's
Yeah.
important to know when your time has come to leave a space that you are no longer comfortable with. And that is why people become so disgruntled in the workplace and they are staying for 10 and 15 years, but they are not happy. So
Right.
then what is your strategy? You have to
Right.
be loyal to your own goals and dreams and figure out the best way forward. Exit is not a bad thing. It just means that you are moving on to what suits you best.
That's right. And you know what? I think, we often hear that idea of like every couple of years you got to kind of transition, right? To stay fresh, to
To stay
stay,
current.
up to
Yes.
date. Exactly, exactly. So I love that you help individuals in that space. And not that there's anything wrong with staying for a while, but if it's no longer serving you, right? Or it's
That's
no
right.
longer feeding you, I think that's a good point to know then it's time to transition and do something else.
That's
So
right.
let's talk a little bit about resumes, right? So what are
Mm.
some of the biggest mistakes that you see that people are making on their resumes?
Well, that's to start. I don't think we should be saying this, but the email addresses should be professional. Number two, I do not agree with persons using their images on a resume because you get an opportunity to be misjudged by the way
Yes,
you look. We have
yes,
people who have challenges with race and otherwise. So you
right,
should have that level of mystery and let the persons allow yourself to be selected on your qualifications and what you
right,
bring to the table. Another challenge, this will be my final point, would be that persons do not include their accomplishments and their milestones. What has that job done for you in terms of your personal growth? What were you able to work on? So those are
right.
things we don't just want to see your bullet points or your full job description. What are your
Right.
responsibilities and what were you able to achieve in that position? So that's some of the those are some
Yeah.
of the mistakes that people make and we should improve in 2025.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, I think that all of them are important, but that last one is, I mean, you hit it head on the
Yeah,
nail on the head there. And that really, I think we went through a period where people were just listing their job duties. So this is what my job description says. Let me add that to my resume. But in
yeah,
reality, what we want to see is what did you actually do, right? In that
that's
role, no matter what your title is, how did that translate to value for the
that's
employer?
right.
Yeah. So I think that's a
That's
great
right.
point. So I know you also provide interview coaching, right? So what would you
Uh,
say are some common pitfalls or challenges that you see that people should try to avoid when it comes to interviewing?
So, pitfall, first thing, you must know the company that you're going to interview for. That's important. do your research in terms of what they are doing. We are living in the age of social media and people are more active. And what that says is that you identify with the values of the organization and tie that into what you can contribute. And that now leads me to the other point, which is not properly communicating what you bring to the table and your value. It's not being overly boastful or I'm trying to find the word. But what it does, it sheds light on what you bring and your value. You are using that interview to market yourself and your skills. So the end goal should be using your experiences to say, yes, I am the person that you need on your team. And you want to
Yeah.
be intentional in terms of that interview space. That is your time to shine.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I think you put it in a great way, right? Because sometimes people have a hard time really talking about themselves, right?
Yes.
But when you're tying it to what have you done in the organization and what is this job looking for, it is that opportunity. That's what the interview is for, right? To highlight yourself,
Absolutely.
to highlight what you've been doing. I think those are great tips.
I just had one more point.
Yeah.
Something I've noticed in my coaching is when I ask persons what are their weaknesses, they are pretty comfortable sharing their weaknesses with me, but their strengths they are not able to tell.
Yeah.
And that is quite telling on how they feel
Yeah.
about themselves. So
Yeah.
once we master and understand what our strengths are, what do you do that is so good that you can do it naturally, then you are able to tie that into your skills, what you are
Yes.
bringing, the value, and you don't sound boastful, but you are saying yes. This
I
is the
love that.
person.
That's right. I love that. I love that. That's great to think about. I think it's doing some work on yourself, right? Thinking about really
Absolutely.
evaluating what do I do well? What do other people come to me for, right? What's that
Yes,
thing that people are always asking you to help them with, right? That can kind of help you figure
absolutely.
out some of those strengths.
Yes.
So when we talk about in this age of social media and even now in 2025, right? We talk about branding and not just branding for companies, but for ourselves, right? So
Yes.
when we think about that personal branding piece, how do you define that and why is it important
Hmm.
even to career growth?
Personal branding is important because it identifies you as a worker. And people don't understand it's not just how you present yourself, but the quality of work that you do. So persons can tell for sure, well, Tisha is this type of person. I'm certain that this type of person will not come, this type of email will not come from Tisha because she writes this way. I'm certain that when I call her phone, she will take my call. Right. So your brand is also part of your strength. It's how you develop your work ethic as well. And that's how people identify the quality that comes with your name. So
Yeah.
personal branding in your career is important, and that is why I advocate for persons to bring their best selves. As much as persons may feel that the reward for work is good work is more work, it
Right.
may seem stressful, but it adds to you overall. It adds to
That's
your
right.
personal goals, and that
Right.
becomes your brand. This is where I am strong, and I have
Right.
gone through the rigors to develop into who I am right now. So that's your brand, your work ethic, and the standard and value that you bring.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think not being afraid to highlight that, right? And to show that because
Absolutely.
it'll help you elevate throughout the your
That's right.
goals and throughout the organization. Yeah, I love
That's
that.
right.
So we know that this market is consistently changing, right? It is always changing. And so what are you seeing as some of those trends in hiring and even just career development today?
An important trend has to do with need for more that work-life balance. So
Mhm.
persons will ask about remote working options and different
Yes.
options that become available to them so that they can balance and harmonize their lives. We
Yeah.
spend most of our time in the workspace, and sometimes that brings a level of frustration that adds to mental health challenges. So you would find that even now, millennials and Gen Zers in particular, they are the ones that are bold enough to ask about those questions. They are asking about compensation as well. There's a call, especially in the Caribbean, for persons to include the compensation on the job ad. And I
Yeah.
agree with that. We don't want to
Yes.
waste our time. We want to know, does this suit me and where I am going professionally? So that is one
Exactly.
of the trends that I have found. People are being bold enough to ask those questions. And those types of initiatives make companies to be more attractive
That's
for,
right.
the creativity that they are looking for to move into the next level.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? I always tell people too, I think, we have to remember that as much as a company is interviewing us, we're also interviewing them, right?
That's
So not
correct.
being afraid to ask those questions, to bring forth those things that are important to you, because you want to know that
Absolutely.
the organization values those same things that you value. So I love
That's
that.
right.
And I think we're seeing it here as well in the US. It's just, I mean, it's huge with transparency and putting salary. I'm a big proponent
Yes.
of that, right? For those very reasons. You do not
Yes,
want to waste people's time. I
that's
don't want to waste
correct.
your time. I don't want you to waste my time. And an easy way to do that is to say, this is what we can afford, right? This is what
That's
we're looking to
correct.
pay, and to make sure that that's aligned with the individual.
Yes.
So I agree with you. I think those are some important trends, and I don't think they're going away, right? They are kind of
No,
here to stay.
absolutely.
That's right. That's right. So for individuals who may be navigating a layoff or
Mhm.
being let go, maybe they've been terminated from their job. What's some advice that you may have for individuals that are in that space trying to navigate getting back into their careers?
Mm. Now, this is to start. I always say that organizations are going to be loyal to themselves. So it is imperative on us to be loyal to ourselves by investing in training and investing in the experiences that's going to bring us to that level in the event that it reaches to the stage of termination for any reason.
That's right.
So you must first reflect on the process. Note that in a case of layoff, it was not your fault. It was just the inability of the company to continue to pay.
Right.
So, in that circumstance, you must begin to adjust your resume. And I hope that person would have been a good worker so
Right.
that getting a reference is easy.
Right.
That
Right.
there's someone that can say, yes, I can vouch for the performance of this person. So that's the first thing, noting your skills and accomplishments and beginning to use that as an opportunity now to take yourself to the next level. That is not the time to be depressed because bills are still being there to pay. Yeah. So the
That's right.
demands are still happening. So it is not the time for you to sink in a hole and say, oh, I've lost so many years in the organization. Well, this is happening. This is
Right.
happening. So your mindset must now change into I have to do something about this.
That's right.
Network as much as possible with your LinkedIn colleagues,
That's right.
people within the field, and that's an
Yes.
opportunity for you to reach out. I was saying to someone recently, there is no shame in saying, I need a job. On
Mm.
LinkedIn, you need to advertise that. You cannot put yourself as though everything is well. It's not.
Right. Right.
So that is the time
Right.
for you to put that banner on, seeking an opportunity, and
Right.
start marketing yourself. This is what I bring to the table, and I am looking for a new opportunity to shine.
That's
That's what
right.
I would do.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think one of the things that I've been seeing more recently on LinkedIn is that when those posts show up, right, of people who are saying, "Hey, this is the skill set that I have. I've, recently been let go or laid off, and I'm looking for a new opportunity." There is an abundance of support that comes around that
Yes,
person. People are sharing, they're making connections, they're making recommendations, and so I
yes,
think that's a good tip, right, to really be able to be vulnerable and say, hey, network,
that's
hey,
right.
community, I could use your help. And especially in the LinkedIn space, I think people are absolutely willing to do that for you.
That's
Even if
correct.
it comes to just liking your post, more people will see
And
it.
sharing, yeah.
Yes, exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So I love that. I think that's a great tip. All right. So what's maybe one piece of advice that you would give a job seeker or someone who is really looking to, navigate advancing their career? Is there one piece of advice that you would give them?
Mhm. Okay, so in the circumstance, well, generally, I would say to use your networks. LinkedIn is not there to just exist. If you are looking to get into a particular field, you connect with persons who are already in that field, engage in their posts, and even from your experience, do some reading and begin to write, even if it's just one paragraph. Your voice needs to be heard on the topics that you are interested in. If you want to get into wellness, begin to speak on wellness and why
That's
wellness
right.
is important as an employee. Right.
Right.
So when you begin to have a voice, then people will look at your posts and get engaged. And that is one of the ways that people headhunt. They look at
Right.
what you have to say, the ideas that's coming out of you, and said, I want that person on my team.
That's right.
Second of all, invest in a lot of training if you can. I would
Right.
always say to try to learn different skills, upgrade your skills, attend
Yeah.
webinars and functions. It helps with
Yes.
the networking. You meet people within different circles and you
That's
get
right.
current information. And of course, apply. Apply, apply, apply.
That's
Even if
right.
you feel that you don't necessarily meet the standard, you just may get a call. And at that
Right.
point in time, you must stay on ready. My
Yes.
mentor said that to me, you must always be on ready and
That's
have
right.
that resume ready to go practice, begin to practice and speak to yourself and speak
Yes.
out your accomplishments, work on your weaknesses and be honest enough with yourself to say, okay, I come to work late, so I need to adjust myself.
Right.
Sometimes
Right.
when someone says something to me, I get a little angry. I need to be more professional.
That's
You
right.
know, so
That's
you do
right.
your personal development and you also begin to work. You are applying the faith with the works to be
That's
able to
right.
get where you have to go.
That's right. Oh, you have dropped some gems for us today. I'm loving
Girl,
that. There are some great,
girl.
great tips in there. Use your
Yes,
network, use your voice, educate yourself, put
that's
yourself
right.
out there, apply, apply, apply. I love that,
That's
right?
right.
Don't take yourself out of the running, right? The
Of
only way you know
course.
is that you have to actually apply. So I appreciate
Yes.
that. Those are some great, great, great tips.
Thank
How
you.
can our base work with you? If people want to meet with you and learn about your services, how can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Oh, they can connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube under the name Coach Sermoya Career Coaching Services. So that's where you find me. I even have a WhatsApp
Perfect.
channel. So it's on my page and you just interact. You can also send me an email at info.coachsermoya@gmail.com. I will be happy to hear from you. Any of your thoughts, if you would like me to speak at an event, I love those things. I love engaging with professionals. So, yes, reach out and let's chat.
I love that. I love that. I will make sure to drop your info in the comment section or the detail sections of this podcast as well.
Yes,
Thank you so much for being here. You have
it was a pleasure.
provided our community with so much knowledge, and we are
Thank you.
thankful to have had you. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.